Imagine a quiet village, you know, just on the edge of a bustling city. Life seems normal, predictable even.
Right, the everyday flow.
But sometimes, just beneath that surface, terrible tensions can simmer, ready to explode into something truly unimaginable.
Mm-hmm.
We're taking a deep dive today into exactly that kind of story, one that unfolded just days ago in Sirsa, a village near Greater Noida.
And what's so striking, I think, is how one single awful event can just rip through a community.
Yeah.
It exposes this whole web of customs, laws, challenges, things that persist really, not just there, but in many places. We're not just looking at one incident. We're kind of exploring the forces that allowed it to happen.
Absolutely. Our mission today is to really unpack the tragedy of Nikki Bhati. We want to understand not only what happened in her home around August 21st, 2025,
Hmm.
but also the bigger picture, the societal issues, the systemic problems that let these horrors continue, and importantly, look for any signs of hope, any sparks for change.
Let's do it.
So it starts in that village, Sirsa. Around August 21st, the emergency lines lit up at Fortis Hospital in Greater Noida.
Okay.
Nikki Bhati, a young mother, reports maybe 28, some say 26. She was caught in this terrible storm.
A storm fueled by
Ooh,
what exactly?
it seems like a toxic mix of greed and, well, tradition. Her marriage started back in 2016, full of promise, I suppose.
As most do.
But it ended in flames. Literally.
Mhm.
She arrived at the hospital with severe burns covering most of her body.
God, that's horrific. And the details that came out later, they paint an even worse picture, don't they?
They really do. The allegation is that she was beaten first,
Mm-hmm.
then doused with something flammable,
Mm-hmm.
and set on fire by her husband and her in-laws, right there, in her own home.
In her home, it's just the place that's meant to be safe.
Hmm.
That level of violence within a family is almost impossible to process.
And what makes it even more agonizing, almost unbearable to think about?
The son.
Her 6-year-old son witnessed it.
Oh, no.
You just can't imagine the terror for that child. He apparently told the authorities later very clearly. They poured something on my mother, slapped her, and set her on fire with a lighter.
That testimony from a child, it's absolutely chilling, haunting.
And there's another layer of tragedy here, too. Nikki's older sister, Kanchan.
Right. She lived there, too. Married into the same family.
Exactly. Married to Vipin's brother, living under the same roof. She apparently tried, very bravely, to intervene to save Nikki. She was reportedly beaten unconscious for her efforts.
So it wasn't just an impulsive act. It sounds coordinated, brutal.
It really does. And the horror wasn't just sudden. There was evidence of ongoing abuse. Kanchan knew things were escalating.
So I've been recording things on her phone.
Yes. Trying to capture proof. We've actually seen some of these videos that circulated online later.
What did they show?
One showed a man and a woman assaulting Nikki, dragging her by her hair. Another piece of footage just harrowing. It showed Nikki herself limping downstairs, her clothes actually on fire,
Hey.
desperately trying to escape.
Oh my God. A desperate attempt to get away from the very people who were supposed to protect her.
Futile in the end. From Fortis Hospital, they realized how bad it was.
Right, referred her for specialized care.
To Safdarjung Hospital in Delhi for advanced burn treatment.
Right.
But tragically, she never made it.
She died en route.
Yes, she succumbed to her injuries on the way. Her life just extinguished far, far too soon.
Unbelievable. So the obvious question then is, who and why?
The focus immediately fell on her husband, Vipin Bhati, he's also 28, and his mother, other in-laws.
The prime accused.
Correct. The police moved pretty quickly, actually. Vipin was arrested shortly after.
And the charges.
Serious ones. Section 302 of the Indian Penal Code, that's murder. Section 498A, which covers cruelty by a husband or his relatives, and also provisions of the Dowry Prohibition Act.
Ah, the Dowry Act. So that confirms the suspected motive.
It points directly to it. Police confirmed the details. The hospital alerted them initially. They're still looking for others involved who are apparently on the run.
And this dowry issue, it's so often lurking behind these horrific stories, isn't it? Even though it's illegal.
Exactly. Nikki's family had apparently given quite a lot at the wedding back in 2016. A top-model Scorpio car, other significant items.
So not insignificant amounts.
Not at all, but it seems that wasn't enough. Far from it. It just seemed to fuel more demands.
That's the insidious part. It's never enough.
Reports suggest that this unrelenting pressure is what really pushed things over the edge. The in-laws allegedly started demanding more, an additional 36 lakh rupees,
Wow, that's a huge
a
amount.
very substantial sum. And when Nikki's family couldn't meet that demand, well, that's when the harassment apparently escalated dramatically.
From verbal to physical.
For constant beatings, culminating in, well, in her murder. And Conchand, her sister, she made an even more chilling allegation.
What was that?
She claimed the family actually wanted Nikki gone, out of the picture entirely.
Why?
So Vipin could remarry and get even more dowry from new bride.
That suggests such a cold, calculated motive. It's beyond just greed. It's monstrous.
It really is. And then there's Vipin Bhati's own behavior. Just hours before he was arrested.
He posted something online, right?
On Instagram. He posted this message, trying to sound grief-stricken, implying it was suicide. He wrote something like, "Why did you leave me? The world is calling me a killer."
The audacity, trying to spin this narrative when the evidence was already mounting, the videos, the witnesses.
Exactly. That digital facade just crumbled instantly. It shows this, I know, contemptuous attempt to manipulate everyone, even in the face of what seems like undeniable facts.
And it just makes the grief of Nikki's father even more raw. His public appeal.
Heartbreaking. Appealing directly to the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, Yogi Adityanath, demanding swift justice.
He was furious, wasn't he? Asking for extreme measures.
Yes, his words were filled with anguish. He actually called for an encounter killing of the accused, for their home to be demolished. He just said they should be shot.
You can feel the absolute desperation and pain in that. A father's cry for justice after such an unspeakable loss.
And Nikki's story in Sirsa, as horrific and specific as it is, it's sadly not unique. It really throws a harsh spotlight on this much larger systemic crisis, doesn't it?
Absolutely. This whole issue of dowry, it has
Right.
roots in ancient customs, daughters getting an inheritance share at marriage.
Right, Stridhan and all that.
Exactly. But it's morphed, tragically, into something coercive, especially in modern arranged marriages. It cuts across castes, classes, and it's become this demand.
Where the bride is valued for what she brings materially, not who she is.
Precisely. And it persists because it's so deeply embedded in the social fabric, even though it's illegal.
Why does it hang on so tightly?
Well, there's the fear of social stigma. What will people say if we don't give enough? But it's more complex now. It's almost like this perverted economic calculation gets woven in.
How so?
Sometimes demanding a high dowry, or providing one, is seen as enhancing status. And patriarchal norms are incredibly strong, especially in places like Uttar Pradesh.
Where this happened.
Yes. Where women are sometimes still viewed, frankly, as burdens to be offloaded with compensation, marriage becomes almost a business deal. Tradition adapts to keep the pressure on.
And the numbers. The statistics are just staggering when you look at them.
They really are. India reports, on average, about 7,000 dowry deaths every year.
7,000? That's hard to even grasp.
Break it down daily. That's roughly 19 women dying every single day due to dowry-related violence or suicide driven by it. In 2021 alone, the figure was around 6,800 deaths.
19 women a day.
And remember, these are only the reported cases, the ones that make it into official records.
Right. The National Commission for Women, they track complaints too.
Yes, in 2024, they recorded over 4,300 complaints specifically about dowry harassment, and nearly 300 of those were directly linked to deaths.
But experts think the real number is much higher.
Oh, significantly higher. So many cases get hushed up, called kitchen accidents, suicides, anything to protect the family's honor. The true scale is likely far more grim.
It really is. And Uttar Pradesh, where Greater Noida is, it's known as a real hotspot for this, isn't it? They even call it a Dahej epidemic zone.
Unfortunately, yes. Countless stories emerge from UP beatings, acid attacks, women being burned alive in those supposed kitchen accidents. Nikki's story fits a deeply disturbing pattern in that region.
And it's not like this is the only recent case. This year, 2025, has already seen others.
Tragically, yes. There was a woman in Pilivit, also burned alive over dowry demands. Another in Tamil Nadu, driven to suicide after months of abuse.
And that case from Tirupur, Ridhanya.
Yes, just back in July, Ridhanya, 27 years old. She left these heartbreaking voice notes detailing the dowry torture she was facing, just 78 days into her marriage. And then she took her own life.
78 days.
It's devastating. These aren't just anomalies. They're symptoms of this larger system where gender discrimination and economic pressure collide with fatal consequences.
So, okay, the problem is clear. It's widespread. It's deadly. What about the law? You mentioned the Dowry Prohibition Act.
Right. It's been on the books since 1961, May 20th, 1961, to be precise.
And it makes giving, taking, even demanding dowry illegal.
Correct. It defines dowry quite broadly. Any property, any valuable security given in connection with the marriage. And there are penalties, prison up to 5 years, fines.
So the basic law exists.
And it's actually been strengthened over the years. Amendments in 84 and 86 were really important.
How so?
They introduced Section 304B into the Indian Penal Code. That's specifically for dowry death. It creates a presumption of guilt if a woman dies unnaturally within 7 years of marriage, and there's evidence she was subjected to cruelty or harassment over dowry just before her death.
That sounds powerful. It's just the burden of proof somewhat.
It does. It was meant to counter that, oh, it was just an accident defense. And they also added Section 498A, covering cruelty and harassment more broadly, with jail time up to 3 years. So on paper, it looks pretty solid.
Okay, the laws seem robust, at least in writing, but here's the rub, right? Enforcement.
Exactly. That's the Achilles heel. You have the laws, but making them work on the ground, that's a whole different challenge.
Investigations often take forever.
Years, often. And think about it. Out of those 7,000 or so deaths reported annually, only about 4,500 even make it to the charge sheet stage. A lot fall away before even getting properly investigated.
And even when they do get to court, the conviction rates?
Dismally low. Over 90% end in acquittals. 90%.
Why? What goes wrong?
It's often a combination of things. Lack of concrete evidence is a big one. Abuse happens behind closed doors. Evidence can be tampered with.
Witnesses.
Witnesses get intimidated, or there's immense family pressure, even on the victim's own family, to withdraw the complaint, to compromise, to settle.
And the police response.
Can be variable. Sometimes these are still dismissed as just domestic squabbles, not serious criminal matters. Plus, the courts are overloaded, massive backlogs.
So even with strong evidence, like in Nikki's case, the videos, the son's testimony.
Even then, history shows us that justice isn't guaranteed. If influential families get involved, things can stall, evidence can disappear, narratives can shift. It's a tough battle.
But it's not all bleak. Amidst this difficult reality, there are some sparks of hope, right? Ways people are fighting back.
Definitely. And one thing that's really changed the game is social media.
How so?
Platforms like X, formerly Twitter, they amplify these stories incredibly fast. Private horrors become public outcries almost overnight.
Like with Nikki's case.
Yeah.
It went viral.
It did. Those blurred videos, the story. People were demanding action, using hashtags like #StopDowryViolence, #JusticeForNikki, and someone highlighted the son's trauma so powerfully. A child watching his mother burn, this is the legacy of greed.
That public pressure must make a difference. Creates accountability.
It absolutely does. It breaks the silence that often protects perpetrators. And beyond that, experts consistently point to education as fundamental.
Teaching equality from a young age.
Exactly. Boys and girls. Changing mindsets early on. And campaigns like Beti Bachao, Beti Patao, Save the Daughter, Educate the Daughter.
That aims to empower women economically.
Right. Reducing their dependency makes them less vulnerable to this kind of pressure and abuse. Economic independence is key.
And what about support for women already facing this?
NGOs play a crucial role there. Organizations like the National Commission for Women, they run helplines. That number, 7827-170-170, is vital. They offer counseling, legal aid, lifelines, really, for women in distress.
Are there systemic changes being discussed too, like in the legal system?
Yes, there are proposals for things like fast-track courts specifically for gender crimes. That could speed up justice significantly, stop cases dragging on forever.
Which erodes hope?
Exactly. And then there's community vigilance. If neighbors felt empowered and safe to report suspected abuse, maybe some escalations could be prevented before they turn fatal. It requires a collective shift, though.
Taking responsibility as a community.
But perhaps the most profound change, the one that could really tackle the root cause, it has to start at home.
Families just saying no to dowry.
Rejecting it outright. Celebrating marriage for partnership, for love, not as a transaction. You remember what Nikki's brother Rohit said?
His reflection was heartbreaking.
We fulfilled all demands, yet it wasn't enough. It just lays bare the futility of feeding that endless greed. It highlights the need for that fundamental shift in values.
So where does this leave us? Nikki Bhati's story. It's just devastatingly tragic, but has it sparked something?
I think it has. It's ignited conversations, difficult ones but necessary ones. Conversations that might just save others. We saw crowds gathering in Greater Noida demanding justice.
That's a powerful sign, isn't it? Society stirring, people saying this is not okay.
It is. And it raises that critical question. Will this story, Nikki's story, be a real turning point? Will it catalyze that deeper societal reckoning we need?
Will it lead to systemic change?
The answer, honestly, isn't just in the laws or the courts. It lies in our collective actions. in the choices made every day, in homes, in communities.
So as we finish this deep dive, maybe something for all of us to think about is, what role can each of us play? How can we challenge these deeply rooted norms that allow such injustice? Not just in faraway places, but maybe in the subtle ways these ideas echo in our own communities, our own conversations.
It's about awareness, speaking up, questioning assumptions.
Stay informed. Speak up when you see or hear something wrong. Let's work together, maybe, to finally douse these flames of injustice.